Hello, everybody, and welcome to week 4 of the Dig Route. I am your co-host, TJ, alongside Justin for another episode. Justin, this one's going to be pretty jam-packed, and I am very excited about it. But first, how are you doing? Nice shirt.
Thanks, man. I bought this shirt probably about 2016, and I love it. I love it. Really, really emblematic of me.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. I like how it's pixelated. The face mask is pretty
Yeah,
pixelated.
8-bit is the terminology that they would use.
8-bit. I
Yes,
didn't know.
sir. hmm
But
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I like you, man. I'm real excited for this show. If you pay any attention to football, there was some really interesting news that came along today that I think is gonna be really great to dive into. But first, before we get to that, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. Nothing to really complain about. My wife and I and our families are all safe. We're all hanging in there and doing well, so nothing really to complain about. But I am super excited to kind of dive into today's show. And the news of the day today
Lay it on.
was that Christian McCaffrey has re-signed with the Carolina Panthers for what I believe is $16 million per year on a 4-year extension.
Yeah, the exact details have yet to be released. That's a lot of money, man.
I'm afraid to see the exact details. Now, my first point I want to make is I think what Carolina got themselves into was so I made this argument about Le'Veon Bell, I think on episode 1 or episode 2, where he's basically he was getting paid as if he's a top 5 running back and a top 15, top 20 wide receiver, like combined in a position. So I think that's what Carolina's doing here. However, I am so anti paying running back that this deal makes me sick. I think I texted you puke.
Yeah.
Was my response.
Verbatim was puke.
I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. And I took a screenshot of using the logic that this is what they're doing. I'm trying to put logic into Carolina's hands here. So basically, Christian McCaffrey would be in between Adam Thielen and Jarvis Landry if he was just a wide receiver based on the average per year. So Jarvis Landry is making 15.1 and Adam Thielen's making 16.2. So Christian McCaffrey slides right in there. And he's also the top paid running back.
Obviously.
He is now the 5th current running back to be making more than $10 million a year. And he's making more than Ezekiel Elliott, who's number 2 at $15 million per. Just $16 million is an ungodly amount for a running back. I don't care. I don't care how good he is. I don't care what he can bring to you. $16 million is too much for a running back. And especially on a team that didn't really do well last year. I know Cam was hurt, but, Christian McCaffrey had a heck of a year, and look where it got him. Pretty much nowhere. So I don't really know what they're thinking. I know it's hard when you get into that position where you have a top caliber player in the league and they're a free agent. It's bad PR to let them go. But if that person's playing a running back, part of being a GM is not making a decision and letting somebody go, not falling into that pressure. And I think Carolina fell into it. I think, Matt Rule and the new regime over there is, trying to build something. So I understand their point of view. I just disagree with it totally.
I think they're trying to make a splash. And I mean, you could tell, I think, just by the person that Matt Rule is, that he's very boisterous. He has a personality that is loud. And I think that the Cam Newton release, I thought that was massive for that team to do. A quarterback who took you to the Super Bowl not 4 years ago. Especially when you're at the combine and you say that Cam Newton is my quarterback, and then you release him a month later. Not so cool with that. So you've made a lot of noise and you've done a lot of things lately, and I'm not into it. Actually, over the course of time, I've always kind of found myself rooting for the Panthers a little bit. Everyone has those NFL teams that you just have whatever weird allegiance to, and I just like them for whatever reason. And dude, man, not behind any of this. I would not have released Cam. I would not have signed Christian McCaffrey this year because he still has a 5th-year player option that you haven't even gone to touch yet. You're not going to touch it now. So you didn't have to make this move. Now, Christian McCaffrey was on the field 93% of the time last year.
Mm-hmm.
That's an absurd amount of time to be on the football field. Like, to put it in context, let's go back 4 years ago. You know who led the league in total snaps? Or you know what running back led the league in total snaps?
No, which one?
It was Adrian Peterson, and he was on the field 62% of the time.
Unbelievable.
That's unreal. And Adrian Peterson can catch the football too. Let's just be clear here. I know Christian McCaffrey offers a very unique, diverse skill set, but I don't think that skill set needs to be deployed on every single down. I don't. Tyreek Hill is a weapon. Tyreek Hill is not utilized on every single play. You know what I mean? Like, I also understand having a decoy there, but you're paying a guy $16 million to be on the football field 93% of the time. He's not going to last. He's not going to survive 4 years for you. Look at what you just paid Todd Gurley.
Mm-hmm.
And Todd Gurley had a high usage rate too. Like, high usage rate is great and all. Like, I love pounding the running back and all, but if you touch the ball 400 times and the average running back touches the ball 250, that wear and tear is going to come faster and faster and faster.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. I mean, you mentioned Todd Gurley, which I think is an interesting point, just because Todd Gurley had the knee injury in college too. So Christian McCaffrey, from what I understand, has been pretty much healthy throughout his career and in college.
He
might have had a hamstring.
He missed one game when he was in college. I looked this up before. It was against Notre Dame, I believe, when he was at Stanford.
So yeah, I mean, he's been relatively healthy. So, you know, I think if their objective is, if they think he has 4 more years, that's great. You know, I think what's interesting, and this is a tweet from Evan Kaplan that I'm reading, but Christian McCaffrey is the only player with 2,500 rushing yards and 2,500 receiving yards in his first 3 seasons ever. So he is that dynamic of a weapon, and I think he's going to fit well with Teddy Bridgewater, who can't really throw the ball as far downfield as some of the other quarterbacks. So I think from that perspective, it makes it a good, a good investment from that standpoint. Just to me, I think it's too rich for my blood. And I would have looked to, maybe try to tag and trade him after next year.
Because you can get a lot for him, man. For a team that is nowhere near a contender, like, you do not need this guy on your team at all right now.
He's a luxury. He's a luxury. And we talk about team building and all of these things. And last week we spoke about quarterback, and this week it just kind of perfectly aligned with running backs. I mean, you can find a running back who can do some of the things Christian McCaffrey can do as an undrafted free agent.
Yeah, I mean, Raheem Mostert was a playoff stud, and the guy's an undrafted free. Maybe he was in the 7th round, but like, he's not it was not a relevant high end football player.
Right. Now he can make a difference in terms of stats and all of those things, but when it comes down to winning, the running back position has such little impact overall on a game. Even game breakers, like, look, Saquon Barkley has been in the league for 2 years now, and how many games have the Giants won? I know he was hurt this year.
I think collectively 5.
Yeah. So overall, he's an electric player, and he's done some amazing things. But I can't wait for the Giants to overpay him, because that's going to be phenomenal.
Well, so I think the fascinating thing about Christian McCaffrey is that he has totally just reset this running back market, much like how the cornerback market, not quarter, was reset this year, and it kind of was skyrocketed with Darius Slay and Trey Waynes and those weird deals. Mm-hmm. I mean, this running back group, man, like do you realize that the running backs that were drafted in 2017, Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon, wasn't Leonard Fournette in there? I
think so.
Derrick Henry was a year prior. I mean, like, dude, the Chris Carson's in there. These are all Deontay Freeman was in there, but he's gone now. These are all great running backs who are going to get their money now, because it started with Ezekiel Elliott, and now it just kind of escalates into this Christian McCaffrey status. And Joe Mixon, I've said it for years, is going to hold out. I think at the start of training camp, because he's going to want his contract. And to my knowledge, that the Bengals are not near their extension with him. They're closer to an extension with AJ Green than Joe Mixon. Mm-hmm. But this dude's going to ask for more than Le'Veon Bell makes.
No. Le'Veon Bell makes too much money. And
Yes.
he did as well as any running back could for that offense last year, and it was still too much money for him. It's too much money for a running back. Period. Any running back who's on a second contract that is more expensive than a second or third round pick salary would be is too expensive for me. I want the player to get as much money as they possibly can. I want them to be able to sail right off into the sunset after their 7 years of a career and have as much money as they possibly can. It's just not going to be for me. Like, I just don't want to be on the hook for that amount of salary at that position that has as much wear and tear as that does. Like, Christian McCaffrey is an electrifying player, and I like watching him play. I just wouldn't want my team paying for him.
Mm-mm.
Like,
I would have liked my team paying for him on his rookie contract. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, on his rookie, I would love that production on the rookie contract. Same thing with Zeke. Same thing with Todd Gurley when he was on his rookie deal. Yeah, I'll take that.
Because I think when it comes down to it, you know, with a quarterback position and a wide receiver position and the tight end, I feel like there's a lot of intricacies that are so different in the NFL from college football. Wide receiver maybe not as much, but quarterback definitely, tight end definitely. Running back, man, I feel like it's a lot of the same. You follow your blockers, you hit these gaps that are supposed to be there. You use your vision, you use your agility, your natural God-given ability, and that's how you break free, and that's how you become this game changer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why it's so easy for these guys to transition right out of college and just go head on. Josh Jacobs did it last year. You know, you see time and time again a rookie running back just absolutely kill it.
Right, and there was a lot of talk too this year that I think is going to help these running backs, like you mentioned, was like the renaissance of the running game in offenses, just based specifically on Baltimore's performance throughout the season, and then in Tennessee once they started riding Derrick Henry. And those two teams and Christian McCaffrey are going to get a lot of running backs paid who might not necessarily deserve to get paid, but they've kind of brought a little bit of faux importance back to the position. Baltimore's in the position they're in because of Lamar Jackson adding to the rushing total and rushing from the quarterback position. So I think if you take away Lamar Jackson's running and give some of those carries to the running backs, it redistributes a little bit differently. So I wouldn't necessarily say that that's always going to be the case. And then when it comes to Tennessee, that's all Derrick Henry and just being a defensive lineman running the football. Like I don't think overall that position is super important to the overall success of the team. Like I was trying to look on my phone while you were talking last about the last time the leading rusher in the NFL made it to the Super Bowl and then made it to the playoffs. Period. I haven't been able to find that. So
it's not Sean Alexander, right?
not in the Super Bowl. Maybe it was. I don't know.
That's where my brain went to. There's no way. There has to have been at least one more in the.
So last year it was Derrick Henry, and they made it to the AFC Championship game. 2018 it was Ezekiel Elliott, and 2018 that was the good year for Dallas, right?
Mm-hmm.
2017 was Kareem Hunt. 2016 was Ezekiel Elliott. 2015 was Adrian Peterson. 2014 was DeMarco Murray. 2013 was LaShawn McCoy. 2012 was Adrian Peterson. 2011 was Maurice Jones-Drew. Arian Foster was 2010. So it's going all the way back. LT in San Diego. I mean, so just from those, like there wasn't that much overall team.
So what you're saying is that if you lead the league in rushing, you're not going to the Super Bowl.
I'm not saying that totally. I'm just saying that if you're the leading rusher, historically teams haven't been that successful overall. I mean, they have a good they might have a good regular season record. You know, I don't have all of their overall records for the regular season in front of me, but they don't win in the playoffs. And that's the biggest thing. Like if you're paying Christian McCaffrey, like we talked about it last week, like you're paying these quarterbacks unlawful sums of money. Like if you're paying a running back $16 million a year, which was quarterback salary 8, 9 years ago.
It's quarterback saw like 3 years ago.
Yeah, they damn well better win in the playoffs. And getting to the AFC Championship game, a la Derrick Henry, by taking down a beaten up New England team. And then who did they beat? Baltimore.
Handled Baltimore. Didn't just beat,
Yeah.
handled Baltimore.
Right. But that's another team in the playoffs that led the league in rushing. Overall led the league in rushing because.
Mm-hmm. Did you? I was obviously doing my research before. You know how much money Mark Ingram makes? I mean,
much?
What a absolutely gorgeous contract. This man is only $5.3 million on the cap. That's it.
Now that's good. Like that.
For a
that's good.
1,000-yard runner back. He can catch the ball too, and he can block for you, and he can pound you. Like that's great, man.
Yeah.
That's great.
I agree.
That is such a team-friendly contract, and I saw that, and I couldn't believe it.
Oh yeah. You know what's disgusting to me?
What's that?
This goes back. I'm going to mention this like every damn episode. Saquon Barkley is the like 8th highest paid running back in the NFL, and he's been in the league for 3 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, he's
so a lot of that is their bonus, because their bonuses get split up over the 4 years, I believe, of the contract, and then with a lot of rookie contracts, they seem to be backloaded. So you start out being paid $1 million, then you're paid $3 million, then you're paid $5 million, now you're paid $8 million.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Leonard Fournette makes like 8.5, 8.7, something like that, and he's still in
he's just after Barkley. For highest annual salary.
And he's a 7th round pick. I mean, 7th overall pick. Yeah.
No, wasn't he sooner than that? I thought he was like 4th.
I thought he was 7. He could have been 4.
I guess what he could have been 7. I'll look it up. But yeah, it's a ridiculous thing to try to pay a running back. I don't know. Like the Jets did it, and it's fine. Like I'm going to defend them, of course, because I'm a homer, and that's what fans do. But
of course, 4th. You're correct.
Yeah. The reason I know that is because I think the Jets drafted 6th, and that's when they got Jamal Adams in that draft. So there was a lot of talk about the Jets draft.
We went John Ross. I get it. It's all good.
Yeah. Well, that was 2017, right?
2017. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the Jamal Adams draft. So there's a lot of chatter about the Jets drafting Leonard Fournette because they absolutely needed a running back. It was poor shit. He was going to Jacksonville no matter what.
So what would you pay a running back? The max you'd pay a running back?
I'd pay his plane ticket out of town, and I'd find it.
So you have your running back on a rookie deal. You give him the 5th year. You trade him?
No, I don't give him the 5th year.
You don't give him the 5th?
No. Well, maybe it depends how expensive the 5th year option is. I was getting that confused for a second with the franchise tag in my head. I definitely don't franchise tag. I'll let him walk, get the comp pick, and that'll be that. Like, I can probably find as the same production. Now there are exceptions to this rule. Like, I don't want people to say, oh, well, what about so-and-so? Yeah, there are certain exceptions to the rule that you can't replace with a mid-round talent, but when it comes to value over price and the economics of football, yes, it's more worth it to me to try to build with a 3rd and an undrafted free agent than to spend more than. I think Mark Ingram's contract is the ceiling for me in paying a running back. Even that's a little bit too much for me.
I might go 6, maybe. I don't know if the running back's agent is really good and he could twist my arm. Like, maybe I'll go up to 6 on the cap hit, but nothing past that.
No, if I'm the GM, I laugh in his face.
I mean, dude, you look at the 49ers and you look at the Patriots, 2 teams that have 3 running backs that they use religiously, and they don't pay any of them more than $3.5 million.
Right.
Tevin Coleman, I think, makes the most, and he's arguably the worst in that backfield.
Tevin Coleman for San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Matt Breida, I think, makes like 2.5, and then there's Mostert, and there's also Jeff Wilson and Jerick McKinnon, who was supposed to be a groundbreaking running back, and I don't think has ever touched the football field for them.
Mostert makes 2.9. 4.2 is for Tevin Coleman, and then I just lost him. Breda's 3.2, I think.
Okay, I was close.
Yeah, so through 3.3 for Breda. So, I mean, overall, like, yeah, that like you're getting, you're spreading that money over three positions. That's a lot different than paying a running back 7 or 8.
Absolutely.
I mean, to me, I want to put, if I'm building a team, I want to put most of my money into the big four: quarterback, pass rusher, offensive tackle, cornerback. And I want to invest in those 4 areas, because if you're elite in 3 out of 4 of those areas, you're doing pretty well and have a pretty good chance of competing for a title. And you have to be elite at 3 of those 4 to be, or get somewhat lucky. But overall, you can't really do that spending more than $5 million on a running back. I think total percentage of the cap, running back shouldn't be more than 5%. Like, you can, New England at one point a couple years ago was putting a wide receiver in at running back. Like, why?
Harrison.
Right. Why would I, spend money on a running back when I can just throw anybody back there? But
when that move is literally just showing you that agility is all you want out there.
Right.
And if that's the case, man, then I could take one of the best returnmen in the league. And if he happens to be a cornerback, if I'm just looking for a guy who's elusive and a ball in his hand, I'll stick him back there.
He can read blocks. That's why Cordero Patterson worked so well, was because he knows how to read blocks from returning kicks and all of those things. But
of course,
I don't know. The running back, to me, if I'm looking at the 22 positions, I guess, depending on the formation that you're using, but let's use the 22 positions in the starting for offense and defense. I would put it at number 22. For me specifically, I don't see the value in it. I don't really know what that'll do. You can either bring in a rookie. I love what Buffalo is doing with Devin Singletary, and then you brought in Frank Gore. And that's
Devin Singletary seems like a young Frank Gore to me.
Right. Like, you just match them up perfectly, where you're not spending big money on Frank Gore. No. He's on the smaller deal, and then you have the rookie who's on the smaller deal. Like, I think that's the perfect type of situation, where you have the old veteran who's not eating up a lot of cap. Now, if you're paying Frank Gore over, $4 million, then I think you have an issue. But if you're paying him like a normal salary, I had it. I don't think he was that high. I really
$2 million.
Yeah, $2 million.
$2 million.
Yeah, I mean that's just stupid not to do that. And then Devin Singletary was mid-round pick, whatever. So, I think that's a good a good way to kind of spread the cash around the running back position, and then you're still getting production from that. And I think that's what you have to do. You can't. I think some of these teams are like feeling handcuffed because their running back has given them production for 4 years, and they want to make sure that they have that person there long term for the goodwill of the fans and yada yada. But at some point, business has to trump that, and you have to take a hard look and say, if I was in Carolina, I'd probably try to either trade him this year or let him walk for a comp pick and then replace his position in the third round. I just
If I'm Carolina, I go into this draft. This is obviously me not giving him the contract. I go into this draft and I draft Antoine Gibson out of University of Memphis, who is a Christian McCaffrey light, and he will do a lot of the same things for you. And you can teach him, and he can groom, and then you trade Christian McCaffrey away for your inevitable first-round pick in a year or two. I think that is your move. As a growing, budding team that is trying to establish an identity, I don't think you want to take the identity from Ron Rivera's team. I think you're Matt Rule. You want to establish a new culture, and I think that new culture definitely revolves around an elusive, game-breaking running back. But I don't know if that's the way you should be implementing it.
Right. Oh, you shouldn't be spending $16 million on a running back, regardless of what he could bring you. Like, he would have to be. I don't even know what type of running back I would pay $16 million for. Like, if you could give me a running back throughout history, like
Bo Jackson.
Bo Jackson, how long did he last? I mean,
Bo Jackson would have lasted a lot longer if he chose one sport, and you would have lasted a lot longer if he didn't get injured against the Bengals.
Right. I mean, there's just very few positions that I would give $16 million to.
Quarterback.
I mean, yeah, quarterback, obviously,
That's where, yeah.
Corner is there at this point.
That's kind of where it starts and stops to me.
Yeah, but the guy has to be a lockdown corner for me to consider $16 million a year. Like, he has to have proven through his 4 years that it's not just a Josh Norman situation where he's a 1-year wonder.
2009 Darrell Revis, you pay him $16 million.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, that's I think, but that's the standard if we're going like that. Like,
oh yeah, you will not see a cornerback season like that ever again. No. I think that was madness.
No, and you can, I saw something on Twitter about who would you take? Like, you needed one pass to get it, and it's Darrell Revis and Julio Jones, and like, if both in their prime, if I get 09 Darrell Revis, I'm taking him over any wide receiver in the history of the game.
And I hate 09 Darrell Revis. I hate Revis Island. I remember being in high school just bashing this thing. Oh God,
that was back to back Bengal. I remember that. That was week 17
Week 17 to the wild card. Week 17, you guys beat us real bad, and I kept telling everyone, "Oh, we didn't want to show the playbook. It's all fine." Like, fuck did I know? Cedric Benson goes and rushes for 150 yards. Shane Graham misses 3 field goals, and then Carson Palmer can't complete a pass to Chad Ochocinco because of 09 Darrell Revis.
Right. He was, that year was unbelievable.
He was too good.
And I never really got to truly appreciate it because they started off very bad. They started out 4-6 that year, the Jets team, and then they kind of turned it around. Right around midway through the season. But
you must have won off like 6 straight to win. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 09 Darrell Revis. If I know going into the season that I'm getting 09 Darrell Revis, I'm paying him $20 million a year, like $20 million for that year. Like, just what he was able to do to the receivers that he was able to do it to. He shut down that receiver, and where the value of him is over Richard Sherman is Richard Sherman in his prime is able to shut down half of the field. Darrell Revis traveled and did
absolutely
the same thing. And so I think just from that standpoint, it's a little bit different. Like, Richard Sherman, he's great too, and I don't want to disparage him and like what he's been able to do. There's
Hall of Fame cornerback, 100%.
There was no better corner than 09 Darrell Revis, and it's also a shame that 09 Darrell Revis got overshadowed 2010-11 Darrell Revis, like that second year they made the AFC Championship.
Yeah,
because he wasn't as good, but he was best corner in the league without a doubt.
100%. Yeah, totally agree.
So I mean, I would definitely pay them, pay that guy $20 million a year if I know I'm getting that. But definitely not a running back. definitely Christian McCaffrey.
Before we shift gears to our next subject, I want to wrap this one up by looking at the 2017 class real quick of this running back class, and I have it pulled up right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you tell me, because there's a lot of them, and you tell me if these guys are getting paid or if they're going to walk.
Now, am I saying if I'm paying them, or am I saying if they're going to get paid?
If they're going to get paid.
If they're going to get paid, okay.
Leonard Fournette.
Probably, but he should.
Are the Jags keeping him? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I think they're cleaning house again at the end of this year because they did such a poor job this offseason. Can skip Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook.
No, he's not staying in Minnesota.
By his choice or their choice?
His choice. I think he's gonna do it like a similar Le'Veon Bell type thing, and just hold out. With him, it's the injuries, like. And then again, it's Minnesota. I don't know. He probably gets paid to stay there for some dumb reason, but I would stay away. He's had one good year.
He seems like he's gonna get tagged to me.
Probably, yeah, but I don't know what happens. That's a tough one for me because it really depends on how this year is because he missed the first 2, so this year's a big year for him. But I could see him getting paid.
Joe Mixon.
Probably, but he shouldn't.
The answer is going to be yes. And I believe it's going to be yes because you have a quarterback on a rookie contract. You will have a quarterback on a rookie contract. You'll have a left tackle on a rookie contract. Those are generally your 2 highest paid positions, minus AJ Green in this scenario. So I think you can pony up and pay Joe the unfortunate amount of money that he is going to
How much is he going to get? Do you think he gets like 14 or 15?
He's going to ask for it. I feel like he'll probably get 12, 13. He's probably going to make a lot of money. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Alvin Kamara.
Oh, yeah, he's getting paid. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
he might break McCaffrey's buck.
I think the Saints. So he's an interesting one because he's not a first rounder. So he only gets 4 years. So this is his last year on his contract. So then he would have to be tagged. So I think the Saints definitely want him. I think it's going to be tough because what do you do? Drew Brees is probably going to retire after this year, so you're going to have that extra cash for probably to help a rookie quarterback.
I'm curious to see if they draft a quarterback.
They're going.
And who? It's not Jordan Love.
No, Jordan Love is going in the top 15.
It might be Jake Fromm.
Ooh, that's a good one. I'm not a Jake. I don't like Jake Fromm. I don't think he's going to do anything.
If he's got to go to the right system.
Yeah, he's got to go to the right place.
Like the perfect place for him. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think Taysom Hill is it. I think he's going to be a gadget guy.
Yeah, as he should. He's great at that.
Right. Who's next?
James Conner.
Oh gosh, he's a tough one.
He's a very tough one.
I need another year from him. I need to see what he does this year before I can even make a determination.
Because this is his contract year.
Yeah, I need to see this year, and that's the tough part with the later round picks.
Yeah.
I think based on what he did, I think he's a legacy payment in Pittsburgh. And I think just based on what he was able to do and how he stepped in for the Le'Veon Bell situation, I think
how he handled the whole thing.
Yeah, I think he's going to get paid just from that. I don't think it's going to be like a crazy,
probably like an 8 to 10 mil.
Probably, he'll probably get 8.5, 9, somewhere around there.
Yeah, Tariq Cohen.
Oh, I think he's going to go to some place that needs like a gadget type player. I don't know if he wants to stay in Chicago. I mean, it really depends on the quarterback situation because he had a great year a couple years ago and then didn't do anything last year.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's a tough one. Probably
he had a great rookie year and then he had a great 2018.
Yeah, probably not in Chicago, I'll say.
Yeah, I agree with that. Kareem Hunt.
Well, he's already on his second team.
Okay, do you think that the Browns resign him?
Dorsey's not there, so I don't know.
You think the only reason they took him was because Dorsey was there?
Yeah, no one else wanted him.
Do you think Kareem Hunt would have been a free agent all of last year if John Dorsey was not the GM?
I think so. There's video of him kicking a girl in the face, dude.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I watched it.
Yeah.
I would not have put the man in the league. I mean, we can get into the NFL domestic abuse in.
Yeah, that's a
wow.
That's
I have opinions, man?
That's a June. That's a June episode.
That's a June. It's a little slow around these parts.
Yeah, I think he was. I think the reason it was John Dorsey was because John Dorsey drafted him in Kansas City. I think that's the only reason he was still there. And then Cleveland we'll get to next week and talk about Cleveland, but I really like what they're doing. I'm really excited for them this year. I think and
they're going to fly a little more under the radar too.
Yeah, that's why I think they're going to do better.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else?
I got two more. I got two more for you.
All right.
Marlon Mack.
Oh, he's going to get paid.
A lot? I think Marlon Mack gets James Conner money.
That's still a lot. I think he's going to get paid. He had a very good year last year.
Very impressed. Yeah.
So just from being in Colts territory, fans absolutely love him from what I can tell.
Really?
Fans.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Team loves him. Like he's a good dude, a hard runner. He's what the Colts are and want. So I think he's going to have a good year this year, and he's going to get paid from it. So
I like that.
Yeah, it'll probably be $6 million, 6.5, maybe somewhere around there.
My last one for you, and a guy I'm actually huge on, Chris Carson.
Oh shoot, he's tough.
7th round pick.
And he's in a contract year already.
Mm-hmm. Now remember, they also have Rashad Penny.
Yeah, that was the dumbest fucking pick. Sorry.
I didn't.
I remember watching it, and I was like, "What the heck is going on here?"
I like Rashad Penny for his name and his name alone, and that's where it ends.
Chris Carson, because the injury history too. I think some team is gonna pay him. I think he'll have like a pretty good year this year. Some team is gonna pay him
Yeah,
above what they should.
but I think taking Rashad Penny says that they are not going to re-sign him.
Yeah, I don't think it's in Seattle.
I don't think so either. I would love it because Seattle's another one of those teams that I just kind of root for whatever the reason may be. And yeah,
See, I'm the same way with Seattle. I always liked the Legion of Boom era. Like I liked the swagger and everything that they
I just like the way the franchise is run, man.
It's just they're smart. I was reading today. Basically, the way it was phrased was there's a lot of uncertainty about the draft this year, but probably the main certainty is that John Schneider will trade his first round pick.
Yeah.
He's had 8 first rounds since he's been general manager, and he's traded his first round pick 10 times.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's traded it twice a couple years. So it's going to be interesting. If there is a trade, it's going to be probably he's going to be involved. So we can see how that goes. But
you ever watch that movie Draft Day with Kevin Costner?
Yeah, Vontae Mack, no matter what.
Yeah.
I'd draft T'Challa as well. You know.
In a heartbeat. Yeah. I'd be stupid not to look at it.
Yeah. I mean, this is a completely unrelated note, but Chadwick Boseman is one of like the all-time actors for this past generation, just in terms of some of the roles that he's had. He's played Jackie Robinson, the great Vontae Mack. He's played Black Panther, and he's also played Thurgood Marshall.
I love how you said the great Vontae Mack, not the great Thurgood Marshall, the great Jackie Robinson.
That is not any comment on Thurgood Marshall, but
no, it's just funny.
Yeah,
that's good. All right, wow.
Yeah, so changing gears a little bit from that, Chadwick Boseman, if you're listening, I love you, man. Moving on to the next topic of consideration is logo and uniform changes in the NFL.
Oh God, man. So one thing I've been really nerdy about my entire sports fandom is team branding.
Mm-hmm.
Before I even knew what branding was, I mean, I thought I was always really enamored by this stuff. Mm-hmm. So there have been a lot of shuffles going on through a few of the teams. And, we've talked about maybe the Rams in passing, but now that they're all really coming to the forefront, I kind of just wanted to just hit them all real quick.
Oh yeah. And then we got a treat on Wednesday with the Browns.
Can't wait.
Yeah. That's
somebody enhanced that image a whole bunch on Twitter to try and redefine it a little bit. So I feel like I have like a rough idea of what it may be, but I'm excited. I'm excited for the crap.
So let's go with some of the newer ones. You want to start with the Los Angeles teams and their kind of branding tweaks and
so I'll start with the Chargers just because it just doesn't make sense to me. You've had that bolt, man, since the 90s, the 80s. You've maybe straightened it out a little bit, had maybe like a little more curve to it, but I mean, I think it's time to change that up a little bit. Maybe just even like a straight line down. Like there you go. Exactly like what TJ's showing right now. Mm-hmm. That's the exact same thing to me. The only difference here is that they have taken their font, put a little more italicized on it, and they create a little thunderbolt down below the A. Mm-hmm. Wow. You hired a college student to create your new logo for you. And I promise you that you paid some marketing company hundreds of thousands of dollars for this new campaign to talk about the richness of your history within the Thunderbolt, and it's the same fucking thing. I think it's crazy.
I actually don't mind this at all. I like the extra incorporation of the bolt here in the A. And again, for those of you who are listening to just the audio, this is terrible radio, but we're trying to screen share as well. So maybe some of the folks who look at this on YouTube a little bit later will be able to see. So this is the Chargers one. I tend to like their the powder blue and the yellow and how that goes together. I kind of like it. I think it's just a little bit I think they're trying a little bit too much. Like I understand their point of view and trying to sell some more stuff and kind of get some hype around Los Angeles, but they need to do more in terms of just getting fans, period, not getting fans excited.
That team never should have left.
No. So that's where I think there's a lot of difference between them and what the Rams did. The Rams, the Ram head logo, which I don't have up here, but the Ram head logo is ridiculous. I think that, is silly, but the Rams have done enough to build a fan base in Los Angeles where they're now trying to get excitement. The Chargers are trying to do that as well. They just don't have the fan base to get excited. So that's the main difference between them. And so I'm a little bit worried for the Chargers because if they don't, Stan Kroenke and the Rams are a little bit upset with the PSL sales, from my understanding. So we'll see if this redesigned logo has any impact on those sales. I don't think it will.
I do not think so at all. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
Bonehead move. I never agreed when the Rams moved to LA. I thought that was a little weird. You're bringing football back. And it's kind of worked a little bit. I think there's been a nice culture shift for the Rams, but the Chargers, I mean, I think that team has absolutely no business being in Central California, or more central for them. Yeah, they belong at the very bottom of California.
Yeah, they should be San Diego. I think the owner, from my understanding, is a little bit. He's not as well off cash wise as some of the other owners. So him trying to fund a new stadium isn't a real possibility with how much money the stadiums cost. So I think him going to LA was to try to get some more revenue just from being in LA that he may not have been able to get from San Diego. So I think that might be part of it. But overall, Los Angeles, stick more with the powder blues. Make this your oh wow, the team's uniform unveil is right around the corner. Sorry, I'm just reading this now.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Alert, new unis are coming. Oh joy.
God, I'm scared.
They may have already released them. I just didn't catch them. I don't think there's that much of a difference.
No, I don't think they came out yet. In fact, I know they haven't come out yet.
So first one to change this week was the Tampa Bay Bucks, correct?
Tampa Bay Bucks, yes.
Yeah. So the Bucks here, I have it on the screen as well. I like these. I really like how clean the white on white is for them. I love this color combination. The only thing that's weird is that I think the pants are different colors, like the stripes are different colors on the side.
Mildly, yeah.
Yeah, and then
that might just be the rendering of it. Yeah.
This one, I think they really shouldn't wear as much because I think the money combinations are the white on the middle color and then the red on the white. I think that those combinations are going to be really good.
Yeah.
I'm really, really excited about those. I think that's pretty cool. It kind of reminds me of when they won the Super Bowl with Warren Sapp and John Gruden.
Exactly. And that's what it's supposed to be. It's the name of the color is pewter, is what you're looking for.
Pewter. That's what I knew they had a special color for it. That's also what I do love about all these redesigns is just how many different ways we can name the same shade of color.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like this will be like pirate red or something like that. The Colts actually did their colors, and I know the Jets did last year.
You mean Gotham Black? Yeah.
It was Gotham Green, Spotlight White.
Gotham Green. I'm sorry. Yeah. Jet Black.
No, it wasn't Jet Black. Because that was the source of controversy. Because I think Jet Black. No, I know. Just the fans out there, and if anyone from the Jets are listening, I got your back. I forget what the black color is. But the Jets black jerseys are awesome. I really like them. The all blacks. I mean, all blacks. You can't really.
Every team needs an all black jersey.
Yeah, we'll get to the Atlanta's.
Oh yes, we will.
Attempt here in a little bit. Just for reference, Tampa did change these are so dumb. This is what the previous were. These are terrible. I
don't even know if that's pewter anymore. I feel like that's more gray black than anything.
This is what it was. So thanks at Benny CL for your reply to the Buccaneers tweet. We're using it here. Yeah, I'm glad they're changing it. So this was their refresh a couple years ago. It didn't really go over well. The numbers are a little bit hard to read.
Well, when Doug Martin, the muscle hamster, is the face of your logo change, man, we got big problems here.
Yeah, and I do like the ATL, the font. I do like that. So let's move to the Atlanta Falcons. Now the Atlanta
Horrid.
Falcons.
Horrid.
Now, not all of them. I don't think all of them are horrid. I think I like the font of ATL. I just think it should only be the helmet sticker up at the top. I don't think it should be here. I think they should have had Atlanta or Falcons, depending.
This looks like created this jersey and Madden created a franchise.
Yeah, and also it's
Like
really dumb.
100,000%.
So the red and black gradient jersey is really dumb to have the player modeling it cross their arms at the point where the gradient switches.
Yeah.
That's terrible, terrible decision there. What I do like about this Atlanta setup is that there's the potential for some pretty cool combinations. So I do like the black top, white bottoms, and I do like the all white, and then the white top and black bottoms. Everything else can just go. Like the Carolina Panthers tweet about these.
Oh, that was rich, man.
Absolutely amazing. I love NFL Twitter team beef. It's perfect. For those of you who might have missed it, basically the Carolina Panthers created a meme where the Atlanta Falcons jerseys look like the Mean Machine from The Longest Yard, the Adam Sandler version. And
because that's literally what that front and center one is. It's just like to a T.
Mean Machine. And it was just very funny, very well timed. I enjoyed it. And then Atlanta responded typing like Cam Newton types on Instagram. So that I thought was also very funny.
We got to find the name of that font.
I don't know. You can just click on hold a letter down and figure it out.
That takes too much time.
To the social media teams or the social media folks on those teams, great job going back and forth. I really like it. The all white is pretty sweet too.
The all white is sweet, dude. It's the blocky Atlanta letters on it really take everything away from me.
If that was just Atlanta or Falcons, like, how about Atlanta when you're at home and Falcons on the road? Like,
you don't even need anything there.
You need something there. You need something. Because I think you need something. You need something there to show what the team is. Like, I know there's a logo on the helmet, but every team has some kind of identifier on the chest.
They put a little falcon below.
Yeah, or something to identify.
The Bengals have a little B right there, and we have like our stripes going. Like that's cool and great. Like awesome.
Yeah, I guess it's not on this one, the far right one. There's nothing there, but they have the falcon on the side.
Yeah, I figured the falcon would stay on the side. I'm surprised that actually. Usually, I feel like when you do a logo, a uniform rebrand, I feel like there's a logo rebrand that comes with it too.
Yeah, there is. The font is a little bit different than they had.
Yeah, the logo looks the same. The falcon looks exactly the same, but the font's definitely a little different.
The font, yeah. I'm not too big on these because normally when these teams do the rebrands or the redesigns, it's to get that all black alternate. Or to like go back to a throwback or incorporate something along those lines. Atlanta, I think, just misses the mark overall. And I
think maybe some like red outline around the jersey, around the numbers would be nice. Or like a white outline or like something extra. I don't know. This misses to me. This is a hard miss.
Yeah, I definitely I can understand that. I don't think it's like a total miss. I think they missed certain parts of it.
That white on red one looks like a high school.
That looks awful. That is spot on. That is a spot.
That's a high school uniform to me, and that's probably the most badass uniform in all your whole district in high school. That's probably the coolest thing ever. Not in pro football, man. Absolutely not.
I totally agree with you. It's like the East Dillon Lions. Like
yeah.
That's
exactly. Shout out the other Coach Taylor. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Just craziness. And then the Colts came out today, and they are sharing some of their information. Sorry, as I scroll. So they've redesigned their logo, and they incorporated a secondary logo. So I'm going to pull that up here. So the primary logo isn't changing for the Colts. The new secondary logo, I know you have your feelings on this. I don't hate it. I don't think there's a need for it. I think it's a little bit unnecessary.
I
Uh,
think it's so absurdly gross.
See, I like incorporating Indiana into it. Maybe it's because it's my home now, and
Because you're a Hoosier now. Yeah, no, it makes sense. I don't think that you're. I don't think it belongs. I just
yeah,
yeah. It's
I think they tried to
so
do a
out
little
of
bit too
place.
much of it.
That C reminds me a lot of the Cleveland Indians C. Obviously take out the state of Indiana in the middle of it, but that blockiness is very Cleveland Indians to me.
Oh, yep, I think so. And then it's also like with the C's, or getting the letters in there, whatever. It's very Midwest.
Yeah.
The Cleveland Cubs,
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Reds.
for sure, absolutely.
Um,
Your
yeah,
historic logo that's the same, right?
the primary logo is
No, the historic one.
the
The one all the way
historic one.
through
Yeah, that's their original one.
when they
Um,
were Baltimore. Yeah.
yeah. And then so that's what they do here.
Yeah, I just feel like it's fishing for something. I like the new font, I
Yep.
think, but like that, I feel like that style of font is very common now in the NFL. That looks a little similar to the Falcons one. I think the Falcons one is a little more blockier, I guess is the word I want to go for.
Yeah. The that's what they're doing is a lot of the logos now look like this font. So
Yeah,
like the Jets when they changed, it's this font.
it's a
Uh,
more modern take.
yeah, I think so. I like it a lot. I think what I most appreciate about the Colts is that they kind of explained their changes a little bit more than the others did, at least via social media, and then they give like the names of the colors, like Speed Blue, Face Mask Gray, Anvil Black. Like so now, like that helps other people who are trying to do some things like
I can't
understand
I
like the
can't read the
colors.
font on the white.
I can't either. I don't know what it is. I tried looking at it before, but I like when teams do that and like they give like the specific information about it.
Yeah,
I just
absolutely.
think that's cool and transparent, and it's like, hey, this is what we're doing. The Colts, what I do. So, have you ever looked at this the with the next pick series that they have on their team website?
No,
It's
I've never been on Cole social media.
it's phenomenal. The Colts are one of the more transparent teams in the NFL, just in terms of what they allow their team to do. Chris Ballard's done a pretty good job of opening things up like that and helping folks understand what's going on the business side. Like he, he's just been very open and honest with the media, especially. Like he had the media through like a couple draft rounds that he did, and then was like explaining things about why they're doing these certain things or why this trade happened, or he's just very open with what he does. But overall, I think the Colts do a pretty good job. I'm going to stop sharing there. But overall, I think logo designs, and it's something to get some buzz
Oh,
around teams, and that's really the only thing it's for. I think one of the most historic or reasons to change was when the Lions went 0-16. They changed their logo to look a little bit more fierce, kind of thing, just because they had the most embarrassing season in NFL history to that point.
well, the Browns have since done it, and they kept their logo.
Yeah, I mean the Browns are just the Browns, but I'm excited to see what they do. I think they go back to the original color. I think they get that poop brown color out of there.
Yeah, that's a weird one. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I'm not a fan either. I don't think it's the best way to do it. But I think the way these teams have done this release is a lot better than the way the Jets did it with like a 45-minute special before you get your players on the screen or on the stage. They just did it in a stupid way. Um, Stealth black is what the Jets one is.
Stealth black.
Stealth
Okay.
black. Should have been jet black, but I think jet black is trademarked.
I'm sure it is.
But overall, I think when it comes to these logo and redesigns, I think teams need to just stop for a little bit. Like, let's put a moratorium on uniform changes.
Well, I think some are necessary, and I think some are a little redundant. There are teams that have had the same jersey for years and years and years and years and years.
The Raiders,
The Raiders.
Steelers.
That is you. That is your brand, man. Just Own it, hold on to it. That's it. There should be no other jersey that the Raiders wear besides black and white, and that's it.
Silver, yeah, silver too. Silver pants.
Yeah. But other than that, no. Like Alabama. The University of Alabama should never do a redesign ever. Penn State should never do a redesign ever. You have this classic look, just keep it as is. Other teams like the Tennessee Titans or the Bucks have this more of a liberty to change themselves. I don't think it's always a necessity to change your logo, change your identity, and change your brand or your uniform. I think it comes in certain times. I think it comes with the Lions. I think it comes after a really shitty season. Or for the Bucks, I think it comes after a big sense of hype. Like there's been a lot of talk for many years about the Bengals redesigning their jersey. I don't think it's going to happen in the near future, but now would be the time to do it. You have Joe Burrow. LeBron James went to Cleveland. They redesigned their jersey and their logo. It's just that's when it seems appropriate to me in those detrimental situations. If you're just the same team over and over and over, unless you have that historic value, I don't think there's a reason you should touch your logo.
Yeah, so I mean, the only teams that I can think of that would be almost like a no-go to redesign, in my eyes, would be probably the Packers, the Cowboys, the Steelers, and the Niners. Am I missing any? You were going to say the Patriots, weren't you?
I was going to say the Patriots.
I knew it because I thought of them too. So I had that same thought. And then I know exactly what you said. Well, Tom Brady's gone now. Now could be a potential time to do that.
I don't think that it is. But with that being said, when I was reading up today, the Patriots plan to unveil a new jersey sometime this offseason. We're not going to see anything crazy. Like they're not going to add, green and purple to their jersey now, but there may be something a little distinct and different about the Patriots jersey, which is actually a pretty solid transition into something more fun that I read about these uniform policies. So in 2013, the NFL implemented a new helmet rule where you could only wear one shell of your helmet. You could do whatever you want to the decals and you can move things around, but the helmet itself is one, and that's it. And before that, you used to have the Eagles would wear their throwback helmets, and the Jets would wear the New York Titan helmet that you had, and the Packers wore that really disgusting helmet. And you have all this, and the Patriots as well. They had the really badass Patriot hiking the football from the AFL.
Pat Patriot.
Yeah, I love that logo. I think it's awesome. That red jersey is pretty fire to me. I'll be honest. And in 2013, they got rid of that for player safety reasons, and they say that because it supposedly takes time for the helmet to be broken in. When it comes out of the box, it's not supposedly safe. And in the era of CTE and concussion protocol, I'm all in 100% on them and their reasoning. However, in 2021, you are now allowed to use a different shell.
Okay.
And they're adding this back. So you can have these historic logos come back. You can have the creamsicle buck jerseys. You can have the Patriot Pat with the red uniform and the white hiking Patriot. You can have the old school Eel jersey. You can have the fucking Houston Oilers for all I give a shit. You can have all that. Now, why couldn't I do that 8 years ago? If this is your concern, player safety, then why are you doing this now?
Because the technology probably improved from the helmet perspective that would allow the new shell to set on the helmet, or there's enough time to get a second helmet or something along those lines. I don't.
The helmet that you practice with, is that your game helmet?
I don't think so.
So
I'm not 100% sure.
So then that's two shells right there. So then why can't that be a way to implement a second shell years ago?
I don't know.
If it's two different helmets and I'm using it in the same frequency of time.
No, I mean I think that's a great point. I'm not 100% sure of the answer. I hope that they're able to figure it out, because I would love to see some of the throwback logo.
You want the New York Titans back? I know.
No, not the Titans. I want Kelly Green, like Jets written out with the long J top, looking like a wing.
That's a nice one. I miss that jersey.
Yeah, I want to see those come back.
I want the Eagles Kelly Greens back.
Oh yeah,
those are sweet.
I'm trying to think who else I might. I don't think there's anyone else that I really want to see.
That you're
No,
dying for.
yeah, nothing that I'm really dying for.
It'd be interesting if those Packers wore that really ugly one again. No, I think it would be. I think the creamsicles would be really cool
Yeah, the Creamsicle Tampa
for the
Bay.
Bucks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think they're. I don't know if they would wear them again just because of how bad they were um in that uniform. So I don't know if they would come back and do that.
I don't know, man. Tommy Creamsicle. I think the ladies would go crazy over that
Yeah,
one.
maybe. I don't know. I
I
don't
think that
know.
would be the hottest selling jersey in the NFL. To be honest with
It,
you.
it it probably would. And I hope for everyone's sake, we never have to see that. But I don't know. Oh gosh. So what is going on in the jungle, Justin? Let's check in Bengals world. What's happening?
Oh man, we are. What we're about 10 days away from Joe Burrow. I think 11 days from Joe Burrow. I mean, I is if this is what being a little kid on Christmas is like, waiting up for Santa Claus,
Mhm.
then this is what it is. It feels great right now, man. I got goosebumps thinking about it. Like this is this
Oh,
is a very, very, very exciting time, man.
I
I
can
don't
see.
know.
Any news this week or anything crazy going on?
Uh, yeah, the Dolphins won't give up a haul, which I knew. This pick was never being traded. This pick was Joe Burrow since the day the Bengals beat the Dolphins
Mhm.
in 2019. It hasn't changed, and I don't care what Joe Burrow would have said in his interview. This team still would have drafted him. I truly believe that. I don't think any NFL team is going to let a 20-something-year-old kid dictate how they run their team.
No. Um, yeah, I think Joe Burrow obviously is going one, and then Chase Young is likely going to. I'd probably put the percentages at 99.99 for Burrow and then 99.98 for Chase Young going to the Skins.
Yeah, I'd agree
After
with
that,
that.
after that, I have no idea.
After that, it's going to be absolutely wild.
After that, it really depends what happens at 3. So if a team is able to trade up, you should read the Peter King's column that he put out this morning. Gave some insight into how the draft is going to work.
Oh, I was reading a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're going to have their one guy watching the clock and on a conference call and on a Teams call, a Microsoft Teams call,
Yeah.
and
And they've gotten rid of away from Zoom, right?
yeah, they're away from Zoom. I think they're doing a secure Microsoft just because of their partnership.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, it makes total sense.
and so what the way it's going to work for trades is that each team is going to have like 4 people responsible for calls from 8 teams, and then they're going to separate it that way and then call the GM if there's a trade offer and then tell the GM what the trade is and schedule everything. They haven't said anything about hard cutoffs with or extending the time. But Peter King did say that there's probably going to be a little bit more leniency if they know a team is having connectivity issues. Where if, like, let's say the GM is unable to get to the person who, so the way they're working, the draft czar who's going to watch the time and everything, he's going to be in a Microsoft Teams call with pickers and then on a conference call with another group. And if a team, they know they're having connection issues between one another, he's going to give them a couple minutes to get that figured out. So it's not going to be like, I'm sure it's not going to be 15 minutes instead of 10, but if it's 10:03 and they get the pick, they're not going to go to the next team necessarily. Like they're gonna be understanding of that connection issue and everything. It's going to be very interesting how trades work, because I don't
Yeah.
know how someone can pull off a trade in 10
It's
minutes.
going to be really interesting, just the content in general, because you're not going to have Mel Kiper up there with the rest of the gang and Chris Berman, and it's not what it is. So I'm really interested to see what happens.
Yes.
And I think this is a great segue to tell all of you awesome fans that next week, aside from our normal Tuesday podcast that we'll be posting, we will also be doing a live podcast watching the NFL draft next Thursday.
Oh yeah.
So
We're going to
make
figure
sure
out a
you
way to do
check
it
that
live,
out.
like actually live, I think.
Actually, live.
On YouTube, I think you can do it. You can do
Yeah, I think so. And then you can play back the episode.
Yeah, so I think we can do that and kind of give our thoughts. I don't think we'll be able to, because of copyright issues or whatever, like screen share the draft.
Yeah,
But we can both be watching it at the same time.
absolutely. And we can have our great banter. And what a great time to talk about literally every NFL team.
Oh yeah, I think it's going to be great. I'm very excited for it. The draft overall is one of my favorite days.
Absolutely.
Of
I
the
got my
year.
TV right here, man. I'm gonna have big old neck problems. It's gonna be great.
Oh yeah, I have my TV here as well. But when it comes to the draft, I think where it gets really interesting is what Detroit does. Like, do they value Jeff Okudah over a potential trade offer for Miami? Like, how much do they like Jeff Okudah? How much do they like C.J. Henderson? Because they want to obviously replace Darius Slay. So, who do they prefer? Do they think they could get one of them later?
C.J. Henderson is a great cornerback that you could totally get in the mid rounds.
Yeah,
and that pick comes from you get that mid round pick from Miami,
right? With Miami, like they're trading from 6, I think, right? Or are they
5?
I think 5
to 3.
So, and then Miami, I think, is also in a good position where they don't necessarily have to move up to do anything that they want to do. Like if they, who drafts ahead of them?
The Giants and the Lions.
The Giants and the Lions, and then are the Chargers 6th?
The Chargers are right after. Yeah, 6th.
So they only have to worry about the Chargers jumping up, but the Chargers, if they go up for Tua, like, okay, Justin Herbert and Jordan Love, like here's what Miami might do. They could trade back even in the first round and get more picks.
I would not trade back if I were them.
I would neither. I'm just saying they could if they wanted to.
I think that the Chargers could trade back.
That's interesting.
Because you're still.
But who would trade up? Like who?
Justin Love or Jordan Herbert. I'm sorry, Jordan Love or Justin Herbert will be there in the mid-teens if that's where you feel more comfortable picking. You can get either another first or a second out of this, or potentially more to couple with that.
That's really interesting.
I think that they can get their quarterback and they don't need that 6. I do like Jordan Love. I do, man.
I don't.
I think that guy's got an arm. I think he has to be taught right, but the arm is undeniable.
I think he's the one guy in the class that gets all the draft hype that doesn't deserve it. I think that's who he is.
Oh wow.
You know how like there's always that one riser quarterback every year, and then just ends up not doing anything. I think that's him.
Who was the guy from Jacksonville? Blaine Gabbert.
What? You mean Bortles?
No. Both, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. Like Sanchez in 2009.
See, the difference is Mark Sanchez could have been a fine quarterback.
I don't think so.
I think that team broke him.
I don't think so.
That's an argument for another day.
Yeah, I mean that's I could talk about Mark Sanchez all day, but I don't know. I think I hope I'm wrong because I don't want him to do poorly. And I'm not rooting against him.
Jordan Love,
yes. I just don't think that he's going to be like I don't think he's going to be like a great quarterback or deserving of, because like going into the year and going into even like Senior Bowl time period, he was a 3rd round pick, and now we're talking about him going in the top 15. Like, how does a guy rise that much? Like, I don't know. Like,
I don't know if he does go in the top 15.
Right.
Because if the Chargers trade back out of the mid rounds, then who else is a quarterback?
No, yeah.
I don't think Jacksonville's going to take a 1st round pick on a quarterback.
No.
Maybe. Not happening. I don't think so. They're not going to spend it at, what are they, 7, 8? They're not going to spend it there.
All right.
And they have another one, the late teens, I think. I think it's like 18 or so.
It's whatever the Rams pick is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting, that 3, 4, 5, that middle of the top 10. And then I'm getting more and more nervous the more mock drafts I read. That the 4 offensive tackles, the top 4 offensive tackles, are going to be off the board before the Jets pick.
No, I still don't think so, man. I still don't. I think you get your offensive tackle. If you don't, you have to go wide receiver at 1. I hate that move, but you have to.
I absolutely hate it.
I hate it only in this draft. I would like it in
so
another.
I think there's hope. I think so. This is like way into draft psychology, but let's say the four are taken. Let's say, Jedrick Willis, Mekhi Becton, Tristan Wirfs, and Jordan Thomas are all taken, right? And the Jets are at 11. The 49ers just traded DeForest Buckner for the Colts pick.
Mm-hmm.
Could they try to get up ahead of or with the Jets knowing that Kyle Shanahan might want one of the star wide receivers? Like did they trade up?
I don't think he has to jump for it at all.
But I think it's tempting. I think that's why the Jets are putting out that they like CeeDee Lamb, because maybe Joe Douglas knows that Kyle Shanahan wants CeeDee Lamb, and they're putting out that he's their wide receiver one, because if the 4 offensive tackles are taken, wide receiver is their next biggest need. So
I think the wide receivers go in a run, and I don't think there's a crazy difference to me between Jerry Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb.
No, I think it's you're choosing between. I guess the comparisons that I've seen is CeeDee Lamb is like DeAndre Hopkins and Jerry Jeudy's like Odell Beckham Jr. So depending on two totally
what do you want here?
Yeah. Two different ones,
And then there's some that believe that Henry Ruggs is the best of the three because he's the most athletic. I do not think so. I am not one of those.
He's a guy who ran a good 40 and had an all-time college receiver on the outside, taking coverage away from him. Henry Ruggs has never been a number one guy, so he's got to go somewhere that has another stud or top tier, like 2 good receivers. And
they say that San Francisco really likes Henry Ruggs.
I could see that because of the weapons that they have offensively.
Exactly. Imagine him and Debo. My God.
Wow. No, I mean, I think he would be Henry Ruggs. Imagine Henry Ruggs in Kansas City.
There's already too much speed on that team, man.
Oh, there's no such thing as an.
I know there's not. McCole Hardman, Tyreek Hill. I mean, God.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. But I'm curious to see what that's really where I'm at with the Jets. So just in quickly this week's on the tarmac is there's just a lot of smoke going around. A lot of different reporting. One of the things that I saw about the Jets is that Joe Douglas has changed their draft philosophy. So Mike McCagnon graded players by round. So he's like he taught all his scouts and everyone to speak on what their talent level compares to in terms of where you would draft them. So like, he's a first round talent, second round talent, and so on. That's how they would be graded. Now that could be good in terms of stacking players and being able to do that, but for an area scout, that makes no sense to say somebody's a second round talent because they don't know what's going on in another state or in another area, So what Joe Douglas, his philosophy is role based. So it's like, what can this player do and how can that fit our team? So that's very similar to how Bill Belichick does his and how the Ravens do their drafts.
How does this fit into what we do?
Right. How can we use what this player is what is this player very good at, and how does that fit our team? So I think from that perspective, it's going to be a bit shaky overall from a draft point of view because some of the scouts, because of how McCagnon was fired, Joe Douglas didn't really have enough time to overall build his whole staff. He had to keep some of the scouts on because he got hired in the middle of the offseason after the draft, after free agency last year. So he didn't really have time to build a scouting department because teams were already out on the road visiting spring ball. And so he had to teach his whole scouting staff how to adjust to rate players based on this system rather than what they were doing previously. So it's a little bit more challenging because you have to know what this player is good at, how it fits, and then how his talent compares to others overall. So it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of plays out. One thing I'm glad about is that this is going to be the first year in 5 years where I don't have to hear best player available and the Jets tied together, because that just ends up with them taking the defensive lineman, and I'm tired of that shit. If they take another defensive lineman, I'm out, Justin. I think so. Depending on where it is. If they get the third, if they trade down and they end up with the 32nd overall pick, sure, take a defensive lineman if that's the best player available at that point of view.
Or if that's Zach Bond.
Right. If they take
He's technically a
Caleb,
linebacker.
or who's the LSU defensive lineman?
Caleb on Chasen.
Caleb Von Chasen and Derek Brown, I think, from Auburn. Those two.
He's all over the board. I see him at 7, and then I see him at 34.
Yeah, he's a nose tackle. He's a big guy in the middle. So like they're
athletic as all hell. Yeah.
Right. He's athletic as all heck. But like, do you take an interior defensive lineman that high?
He's also kind of a problem child.
Yeah. Just very, I'm very curious about the draft, and we can definitely dive more into this next week and kind of talk through. We can kind of do a not a mock draft per se, but just kind of talk through the top, 15 or so picks, and then kind of just go here or there who our favorite players are in the first round.
I think our 5 listeners would love that.
Oh, I think so too. Actually, we're like upwards of like 30 now per episode, so we're making waves a little bit.
Look at that, man! Look at that.
Yeah, we're doing all right. We have our loyal couple of listeners. Mike Brown, shout out. But anything else you'd like to add, Justin? Any final thoughts?
No, man. In this crazy time, I just hope that your family and your friends are all safe, sound, and everything's all right. And hopefully we can all go back to our normal lives, because I am getting a little stir crazy here.
Absolutely, but at least we have this to keep us
exactly
to keep us going and looking forward to something new. And we hope for some of you that it's getting to that point too, where you say, hey, it's Tuesday morning, what am I going to listen to? You want to listen to Big Route. This has been episode 4. For Justin, I'm TJ. We will see you next week.